The blue-white planet called Earth was peaceful that morning. Commander Eric Walsh sat in his office at the Earth Diplomatic Corps headquarters in Geneva. His coffee steamed beside him as he sorted through reports from across the galaxy. 5 years had passed since humans had first met aliens. The gentle Alarians had reached out with friendship, showing Earth that we were not alone among the stars. Walsh's computer beeped with an urgent message. His screen lit up with the face of an Alarian diplomat named Cyril. The alien's blue skin looked pale, and fear showed in all 4 of his eyes. "Commander Walsh," Cyril said, his voice shaking. "We need help." They came without warning. The screen changed to show a village on the Alarian homeworld. Walsh's stomach turned as he watched. Strange ships landed while squid-like creatures with metal armor rushed out. The aliens carried weapons that fired red beams. Peaceful Alarians fell to the ground or ran in terror. "Who are they?" Walsh asked, his voice tight. "The Kreks," Cyril answered. "They hunt species like us. They want our brains for their experiments." The screen showed more pictures. Alarians were being forced into lines. Some were being dragged into the ships. The Kreks moved with cruel purpose, showing no mercy to the old or the young. Walsh hit the emergency button on his desk. "How many ships do they have?" 23 warships, Cyril said. "We have no defense. Our people chose peace over weapons long ago." The door to Walsh's office slid open. Captain Olivia Martinez rushed in, her uniform slightly wrinkled as if she had dressed in a hurry. "Sir?" she asked, then saw the screen. Her face went pale. "My God." Walsh stood up. "Get me Admiral Peterson. Now." Martinez nodded and used her tablet to make the call. On the screen, they watched as a Kreks commander stepped forward. He was taller than the others, with extra tentacles that glowed with implanted technology. "Perfect specimens," the Kreks commander said in a harsh voice that the translation software struggled to convert. "Their telepathic brains will fetch high prices. Take them all." The screen suddenly went dark. Cyril's voice came through weakly. "They're destroying our communication centers. This may be our last." The call ended. Walsh and Martinez stood in silence for a moment. "Connection established with Admiral Peterson," Martinez said quietly. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen. Frank Peterson was an older man with gray hair and eyes that had seen many battles before humans reached the stars. "Walsh, what's the emergency?" Peterson asked. "The Alarians are under attack, sir," Walsh said. His voice was steady despite the rage building inside him. "A species called the Kreks are taking them. They're slaughtering them, sir. The Alarians—" "Never hurt anyone. They have no defenses." Peterson's face hardened. For a moment he was silent. Then he nodded once. "Prepare the fleet, Commander. Earth protects its allies." "Yes, sir," Walsh said. "How many ships can we deploy?" Peterson didn't hesitate. "All of them." Within an hour, Walsh and Martinez were on a shuttle to the Jupiter Defense Station. Through the window, Walsh could see Earth's ships beginning to gather. The shuttle passed close to the massive dreadnought named Valiant Defender. Its hull gleamed in the sunlight, weapon ports closed but ready. "Will it be enough?" Martinez asked as they watched more ships arrive. Walsh nodded. "The Kreks think they found easy prey. They don't know that the Alarians have friends." At the station, they were met by Admiral Beth Cooper, a tall woman with short gray hair and a reputation for winning battles. "Commander Walsh, Captain Martinez," Cooper greeted them. "I've read your report. The fleet will be ready to jump in 6 hours." They followed Cooper to the command center. The large room buzzed, with activity as officers prepared for war. 57 warships, Cooper said, pointing to the display showing Earth's gathering fleet. "Everything we have that can fight." Lieutenant Henry Taylor worked at a station nearby, his fingers flying over the controls as he coordinated the loading of supplies and weapons. "The Kreks have no idea what they've done," Taylor said to communications specialist Judy White at the next station. "They think because the Alarians are peaceful, they have no protectors." Walsh stepped closer to the main display. "What do we know about Kreks technology?" Cooper gestured to a man working at a science station. Dr. Alan Reeves has been studying them since we detected their ships 3 months ago. Dr. Reeves looked up from his work. His eyes were tired but determined. They have strong shields, but I've developed something that should break through. We're installing the new technology on all our missiles now. Walsh nodded. Good. We'll need every advantage. The Alarians shared their star maps with us. Martinez said, "We know exactly where their homeworld is and the fastest way to get there." Cooper turned to Walsh. "The United Earth government has given us full authority. This is not just a rescue mission. This is a message to the galaxy." Walsh looked around the room at the humans preparing for Earth's first interstellar war. 5. Years ago, they had been alone in the universe. Now they would fight to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. "Send a message to all ships," Walsh said. "Tell them who we're fighting for. Tell them what the Kreks are doing to our friends." Cooper nodded and turned to give the order. Across the fleet, captains received the images Walsh had seen. Earth's first alien friends were being hunted, harvested for their telepathic brains. The response was immediate. Loading speeds increased. Weapon checks were completed faster. The fleet would be ready ahead of schedule. On the bridge of the Valiant Defender, Captain Samuel Green watched the final preparations. His ship would lead the assault. He addressed his crew, his voice firm and clear. "The Alarians welcomed us to the stars with open arms," Green said. "They shared knowledge freely, asking nothing in return. Today, we repay that kindness with Earth's full might." As the countdown to departure began, Admiral Cooper received a final message from the United Earth government. She read it aloud to Walsh and Martinez. "Show them what happens when they prey on the defenseless." Walsh looked out at the fleet through the station's large windows. Earth had been building these ships for defense, hoping they would never be needed. Now they had a purpose that every crew member understood. 6 hours, Walsh said. "Then we show the galaxy what humanity stands for." Cooper nodded. "And what we stand against." The massive engines of Earth's warships began to glow as they prepared to jump across the stars. The Kreks had made a terrible mistake. They had targeted the Helpless. Earth's Armada would arrive without mercy. The massive engines of Earth's warships glowed blue-white as they prepared to enter hyperspace. Admiral Beth Cooper stood on the bridge of the Valiant Defender, watching as her fleet moved into jump formation. The 57 warships ranged, from quick, nimble destroyers to the giant dreadnought she commanded. "Final checks complete, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Henry Taylor from his station. "All ships report ready status." Cooper nodded. "Time to departure?" 3 minutes, ma'am," Taylor replied. Cooper turned to look at Commander Eric Walsh, who stood beside her at the main viewport. "You should get some rest, Commander. Once we arrive at Alaria, none of us will sleep much." Walsh shook his head. "I can't rest, not while knowing what's happening to them." The images they had seen of the Kreks attack played in their minds. The peaceful Alarians being rounded up, their telepathic brains destined for harvesting. Earth had never fought an interstellar war before, but every person in the fleet understood why this battle mattered. "All ships, prepare for hyperspace jump," Cooper announced over the fleet-wide channel. "Remember why we fight today. The Alarians welcomed us to the stars in peace. We will not let them face this darkness alone." Captain Olivia Martinez approached with a data tablet. "Admiral, we've received the final intelligence report. The Kreks have established 7 harvesting centers on the Alarian homeworld. Their main fleet remains in orbit. Any updates on Alarian casualties?" Walsh asked, his voice tight. Martinez's face was grim. "Thousands taken, maybe tens of thousands. The Kreks are working quickly." Dr. Alan Reeves joined them, carrying a small metallic object. "The shield-piercing technology has been installed on all our missiles, Admiral. I wanted you to see the finished product." Cooper examined the device. "This will work?" "Yes," Reeves said confidently. "We've been studying the Kreks' energy signatures since they entered our sector 3 months ago. Their shields use a frequency pattern that these devices can disrupt. They'll never expect it." Cooper handed the device back. "Good work, Doctor. 1 minute to jump," announced Taylor. Throughout the fleet, captains gave final orders to their crews. On the destroyer Swift Justice, Captain Diane Miller addressed her team. The Kreks think the Alarians are easy targets because they have no weapons, she said. They don't know that Earth has teeth. We will show them what happens when you attack those under our protection. Her crew nodded in silent agreement. Many of them had met Alarians in the 5 years since first contact. The gentle, blue-skinned aliens had shared their knowledge freely, helping humans advance their technology by decades. 30 seconds, Taylor called out on the valiant defender. Cooper took her command seat. All hands, secure for hyperspace. Jump. The massive engines of the Earth fleet powered up to full strength. The fabric of space began to bend around the ships. 10 seconds, Taylor counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In perfect unison, 57 Earth warships vanished from the solar system, leaving only the fading glow of their engines behind. The journey through hyperspace would take 12 hours. During that time, Cooper gathered her command staff to review the battle plan one final time. We'll exit hyperspace here, she said, pointing to a spot at the edge of the Alarian system. The Alarians helped us develop stealth technology for our ships. We'll use it to approach undetected. Major Paul Scott, commander of the Marine Forces, studied the map. My teams will deploy to the 7 harvesting centers. Primary mission is rescuing the captured Alarians. My special forces will target this location, added Commander Grace Kelly, pointing to the Alarian capital city. Intelligence suggests the Kreks have set up their command center here and are holding the Alarian leadership. Cooper nodded. Captain Green will lead the main fleet against the Krek ships in orbit. Remember, we need to hit them hard and fast. Don't give them time to realize what's happening. Throughout the fleet, similar briefings took place. Weapons were checked one final time. Marines prepared their dropships. Pilots ran system diagnostics on their fighters. In the medical bay of the valiant defender, Dr. Lisa Murray prepared her team for the wounded they would soon receive. We've studied Alarian physiology, she told her medical staff. They're more fragile than humans. Lower blood pressure, thinner skin. They'll need special care. On the observation deck, Walsh stood, alone, watching the swirling colors of hyperspace. Captain Martinez found him there halfway through the journey. You should try to sleep, she said. The Alarians will need you sharp. Walsh turned to her. I was there when they first contacted us. I was part of the team that greeted their ship. They brought gifts, knowledge, art, music. They trusted us. Completely. He paused. I promised their High Elder that Earth would be a worthy friend. Martinez put her hand on his shoulder. And we will be. The Kreks will learn that today. 6 hours later, the fleet prepared to exit hyperspace. On the bridge of the valiant defender, Cooper took her command position. All ships prepare for battle stations upon exit, she ordered. Stealth systems activate immediately. The swirling tunnel of hyperspace began to fade. Space returned to normal as the Earth fleet arrived at the edge of the Alarian system. The blue-green homeworld of the Alarians was visible in the distance, with the sinister shapes of Kreks warships orbiting above it. Stealth systems engaged, reported Taylor. No indication that we've been detected. Cooper turned to her communications officer. Begin passive scans. I want to know exactly what we're facing. Lieutenant Chris Mitchell studied his sensor readings. 23 Kreks warships in standard orbit, Admiral. Various smaller craft moving between the ships and the surface. Show me the planet, Cooper ordered. The main screen changed to show a magnified view of the Alarian homeworld. Once a peaceful place of beautiful cities and natural wonders, it now showed signs of attack. Smoke rose from several locations. The night side of the planet, which should have been lit with city lights, was mostly dark. Walsh clenched his fists at his sides. They've knocked out their power grids. Cooper nodded to Commander Kelly. Launch your stealth ships. Begin your approach to the capital. Yes, Admiral, Kelly replied, leaving the bridge to join her team. Cooper looked at Major Scott next. Prepare your Marines for drop. We'll create a distraction in orbit while you get to the surface. Ready when you give the word, Scott said confidently. Cooper turned back to the viewport, looking at the unsuspecting Kreks fleet. The enemy had no idea that Earth's Armada had arrived. They thought they were safe, harvesting a defenseless species that could not fight back. "Captain Green," Cooper said to the tactical commander, "move our ships into attack positions, weapons hot but hold fire until my command." Green nodded, his face grim with determination. "With pleasure, Admiral." As Earth's warships silently moved into position around the Krex fleet, Cooper intercepted communications between the enemy vessels. The translation software converted their harsh language. "The harvest proceeds as planned," a Krex commander was saying. "These creatures are perfect specimens. Their telepathic abilities make their neural tissue extremely valuable." Another Krex voice responded, "What about the humans they were in contact with?" "Primitive mammals, barely worth noticing," the first voice dismissed. "They have only just reached the stars. By the time they learn what happened here, we will be long gone." Cooper's eyes narrowed as she listened. "They're about to learn how wrong they are," she said quietly. Then she straightened in her command chair and gave the order that would begin. "Earth's first interstellar war. All ships weapons free, show no mercy." The words "all ships weapons free, show no mercy" had barely left Admiral Cooper's lips when the Earth fleet sprang into action. Like wolves that had been circling their prey, 57 warships dropped their stealth shields at the same moment. The Krex, who had believed themselves alone with their helpless victims, suddenly found themselves surrounded. The valiant defender fired first. Bright blue energy beams shot across space and struck the largest Krex command ship. The special shield-piercing missiles followed immediately after. The Krex shields flickered and failed. Explosions bloomed across the enemy vessel's hull. "Direct hit," Lieutenant Chris Mitchell called out from his weapons station. "Their shields are down." Around them, the rest of Earth's fleet opened fire. The surprise was complete. The Krex ships scrambled to respond, but they had been caught unprepared with many of their weapons powered down. "All targets engaged," Captain Green reported. "They're trying to raise shields and power up weapons." Cooper nodded. "Don't give them time. Continue the assault." On the Swift Justice, Captain Diane Miller directed her quick attack ship between two Krex cruisers. "Fire port and starboard batteries simultaneously," she ordered. Her weapons officers complied. The Swift Justice fired in both directions at once, catching both enemy ships before they could fully raise their shields. The special missiles did their work, creating gaps in the Krex defenses that allowed Earth's energy weapons to strike vital systems. "Enemy ships are beginning to return fire," Green reported, as the Krex recovered from their initial shock. A red beam struck the valiant defender, making the giant ship shudder slightly. "Shields holding at 96%, reported Taylor from his station. Cooper remained calm. "Continue the attack pattern. Launch all fighters." Throughout the Earth fleet, launch bays opened. Hundreds of smaller fighter craft poured out, racing toward the Krex ships. Among them were the troop carriers protected by fighter escorts, heading for the planet's surface. Commander Grace Kelly led the Special Forces team in 3 stealth ships. While the main battle raged above, her ships slipped through the chaos, undetected. The Krex were too busy trying to defend against the surprise attack to notice the small vessels descending toward the Alarian capital. "Stay in the sensor shadow of that debris," Kelly instructed her pilots. "All teams prepare for ground assault." Inside the lead ship, 20 elite soldiers checked their weapons one final time. Sergeant Kate Johnson, leader of the First Strike team, studied the layout of the Alarian government complex where the Krex had established their main harvesting center. "Remember, people," Johnson said to her team, "we have 2 missions. Free the Alarians and gather intelligence on the Krex. We need to know why they're doing this, and if other peaceful species are at risk." Their ship landed silently on the roof of a tall building that overlooked the government complex. The Krex had posted guards, but their attention was focused on the battle in the sky above. The Earth soldiers moved quickly from shadow to shadow, approaching the complex where hundreds of Alarians were being held. Johnson used a special scanner to check the building. "I'm reading many Alarian life signs inside. They're being held in the main chamber. There are 23 Krex guards and scientists." Kelly nodded. "Team 1 will secure the Alarians. Team 2, with me to find their leaders." The soldiers moved silently to their positions. Johnson's team prepared to enter through the main doors while Kelly's team found a side entrance. They waited for Johnson's signal. 3, 2, 1, go, Johnson whispered into her comm unit. Both teams breached the building simultaneously. The Kreks inside were caught completely by surprise. Many were watching the space battle on their screens, not expecting an attack on the ground. Johnson's team moved efficiently through the hallways, neutralizing Kreks guards with precisely aimed shots. The squid-like aliens fell before they could raise alarms. Team 1 reached the main chamber where hundreds of Alarians were being kept in holding cells. The sight made Johnson's stomach turn. The gentle blue-skinned aliens were connected to machines that scanned their brains. Some had already been through the first stage of the harvesting process and lay weakly on the floor of their cells. "Clear the room," Johnson ordered. Her team moved methodically, eliminating the Krek scientists with cold efficiency. Once the threat was removed, Johnson approached the control panel. "Get these cells open. Medical team, attend to the Alarians." As her soldiers worked to free the captives, Johnson noticed one Alarian watching her with 4 wide eyes. The alien's skin was paler blue than normal, but he stood straight despite his ordeal. "You came," the Alarian said in perfect English. "Earth remembered its friends." Johnson nodded as she helped him out of the cell. "We always will." Meanwhile, Commander Kelly's team had found the Kreks command center. The elite soldiers breached the room in perfect formation, taking down the guards before they could react. Kelly approached the main Kreks commander, a larger specimen with glowing technological implants embedded in his tentacles. The Kreks leader reached for a weapon, but Kelly was faster. Her shot hit him in one of his 3 eyes, making him screech, in pain. "Surrender now," Kelly demanded. Her weapon pointed at his central eye. "Order your forces to stand down." The Kreks commander hissed something that the translation device interpreted as an insult. "Primitive mammals," he said. "You cannot comprehend the value of these specimens. Their neural tissue." Kelly cut him off with another shot, this one grazing his tentacle. "I won't ask again." In space, the battle continued. The Earth fleet had formed a perfect attack formation, focusing their fire on one Krek ship at a time. The enemy's advantages in size and power were negated by Earth's superior tactics and the element of surprise. "Kreks Cruiser 3 is disabled," reported Mitchell from his station on the Valiant Defender. "Kreks ships 5 and 7 are attempting to flee," added Taylor. "Shall we pursue?" Admiral Cooper's face was hard as stone. "No escape, no survivors. They need to understand the consequence of targeting those under Earth's protection." Cooper opened a channel to Major Scott's Marine Forces. "Major, what's your status?" Scott's voice came through clearly despite the sounds of battle in the background. "We've secured 3 of the 7 harvesting centers, Admiral. The Kreks are putting up heavy resistance at the others. They know they're losing and they're getting desperate." "Understood. We're sending additional fighter support to your locations." On the surface, the battle was turning in Earth's favor. The Marines fought with controlled fury, remembering the images of the helpless Alarians being rounded up for harvesting. They showed the same mercy the Kreks had shown their victims. None. Back in orbit, one of the largest Krek ships suddenly changed course, heading directly for the Valiant Defender. "They're on a collision course," Taylor shouted. "Evasive maneuvers," Cooper ordered calmly. The massive Earth dreadnought fired its thrusters, moving with surprising agility for its size. The desperate Krek ship missed by meters, exposing its vulnerable rear section to the Earth fleet's weapons. "All ships, target their engines," Cooper commanded. A dozen Earth vessels fired simultaneously. The Krek ship erupted in a series of explosions before breaking apart. 15 enemy ships destroyed or disabled, Green reported. 8 remaining, all damaged. Cooper nodded. The battle was going well, but she would not celebrate yet. Not until every Alarian was safe. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the Krek's command ship. They're requesting terms." Cooper's eyes narrowed. "Put it through." The main screen showed the face of a Krek's admiral, his tentacles twitching in what might have been fear. "Enough," the Krek said. We will withdraw. This harvest is not worth the cost. Cooper's voice was cold when she replied. You misunderstand the situation. There will be no withdrawal. You preyed on those who couldn't defend themselves. Now you face those who can. She cut the transmission and turned to her weapons officer. Continue the attack. Show them what happens when they target the helpless. The battle for Ilaria continued as Earth forces pressed their advantage. In orbit, the remaining Krex ships tried to form a defensive circle, but it was too late. Their formation had been broken, and Earth's warships picked them off one by one. Krex, vessels 9 and 12 destroyed, reported Lieutenant Chris Mitchell from his weapon station on the Valiant Defender. 6 enemy ships remain. Admiral Cooper nodded. Focus fire on their flagship. I want their command structure eliminated. On the bridge of the Swift Justice, Captain Diane Miller directed her quick attack ship in a series of tight maneuvers around a damaged Krex cruiser. Her vessel was small but deadly, designed for speed and precision strikes. Target their engine cores, Miller ordered. Fire when ready. The Swift Justice unleashed a barrage of missiles that penetrated the Krex ship's weakened shields. Explosions rippled along the enemy vessel's hull. Its lights flickered and died as critical systems failed. Enemy ship disabled, Miller's weapons officer confirmed. Miller allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. Move to the next target. Don't let up. On the planet's surface, the situation was improving as well. Major Paul Scott coordinated his Marine forces from a mobile command center. 3 more harvesting facilities had been secured, bringing the total to 6 out of 7. 1 more to go, Scott said to his team leaders via the comm system. The final facility is their largest. Intelligence suggests they're holding over 1,000 Ilarians there. My company is ready to move in, replied Captain Alex Wright, leading a fresh group of Marines who had just landed. We've studied the layout. Scott nodded. Proceed with caution. The remaining Krex forces know they're losing. That makes them dangerous. At the Ilarian capital, Commander Grace Kelly's special forces had secured the government complex. Sergeant Kate Johnson led a team through the building, freeing every Ilarian they found. The blue-skinned aliens were weak from their ordeal, but deeply grateful to their human rescuers. Johnson helped an elderly Ilarian to a makeshift medical area where Earth doctors were providing emergency care. You're safe now, she assured him. The Krex will never hurt you again. The Ilarian touched her hand with 4 trembling fingers. We had no defense against them. They came without warning. That's why we're here, Johnson said firmly. Earth protects its friends. In another section of the complex, Commander Kelly interrogated the captured Krex leader. The alien sat restrained, his tentacles bound to prevent him from accessing the technology embedded within them. Why target the Ilarians? Kelly demanded. What do you want with their brains? The Krex commander's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. Their telepathic abilities make their neural tissue valuable. We harvest such specimens throughout the galaxy. Other species? How many have you attacked? The Krex made a sound that might have been laughter. Many, always those who cannot fight back. The weak exist to serve the strong. Kelly's face hardened. Not anymore. Not while Earth has ships and soldiers. She turned to leave, but the Krex called after her. You cannot protect everyone, human. The galaxy is vast. There are many like us who prey on the defenseless. Kelly looked back at him. Then we'll stop. Them too. Starting with you. Back in orbit, Admiral Cooper received updates from all fronts. The space battle was nearly won. Only 3 Krex ships remained, all heavily damaged. On the surface, all but 1 harvesting facility had been secured. How many Ilarians have we rescued? Cooper asked. Over 7,000 so far, replied Captain Martinez, checking the latest reports. Many need medical attention, but our teams are caring for them. Cooper nodded, then turned to the tactical display. What's the status of the final harvesting facility? Major Scott's Marines are moving. Into position now, Martinez reported. It's heavily defended. Cooper opened a channel to Scott. Major, this is Admiral Cooper. Do you need orbital support? Scott's voice came through clearly, despite the sounds of battle in the background. We could use it, Admiral. They've set up shield generators and heavy weapons. Understood. We'll clear a path for you. Cooper turned to her weapons officer. Lieutenant Mitchell, target the area around the final facility. Precision strikes only. We don't want to harm the Alarians inside. Targeting now, Mitchell replied, fingers moving across his control panel. Ready on your command. Fire. From orbit, the valiant defender unleashed a series of carefully aimed energy beams. The weapons struck the outer defenses of the Krex facility with surgical precision. Shield generators exploded. Weapon emplacements vanished in bright flashes. On the ground, Major Scott watched through binoculars as the orbital strikes created openings in the Krex defenses. Move in now, he ordered his Marines. All teams go. The Earth soldiers advanced in perfect coordination. They had trained for years for various combat scenarios, but this was the first time they fought to protect another species. Their determination showed in every movement. Captain Wright led the main assault team. Formation Delta, he called to his soldiers. Watch for traps. The Marines moved forward in groups, covering each other as they approached the facility. Krex defenders fired from protected positions, but the Earth forces were too skilled, too determined to be stopped. We need to reach the main holding area, Wright told his team. Intelligence says that's where most of the Alarians are being kept. As they fought their way inside the facility, Wright's team encountered heavier resistance. The remaining Krex knew they were cornered and fought with desperate fury. Several Marines were wounded by enemy fire. Medic, Wright called as one of his soldiers fell. Then he turned to his second-in-command. We need to end this quickly. The Alarians may be running out of time. Lieutenant Jeff Gordon nodded. I have an idea, sir. Their central control room should be 2 levels up. If we can capture it, we might be able to open all the holding cells at once. Good thinking. Take a team and go. We'll keep them busy here. Gordon selected 5 Marines and moved quickly through the facility. They encountered resistance but overcame it swiftly. Years of training paid off as they worked together with precise movements. They reached the control room and breached the door. Inside, several Krex technicians turned in surprise. The fight was brief and one-sided. Within moments, Gordon's team had secured the room. Let's see what we've got here, Gordon said, examining the alien control panels. One of his team members, Private Amy Wilson, had specialized in alien technology. I think I can figure this out, Wilson said, studying the controls. The Alarians helped us understand some Krex systems. Her fingers moved across the panel, navigating through strange symbols. Got it, holding cell controls. With a series of commands, Wilson opened all the cells in the facility. An alarm blared as hundreds of doors slid open throughout the building. Captain. Right, Gordon called over the comm. Cells are open, the Alarians are being released, Wright acknowledged. Good work. We're seeing them now. Moving to secure and evacuate. In the holding areas, weak and traumatized Alarians emerged from their cells. Earth Marines moved among them, providing water and emergency medical treatment. The Alarians touched the humans. With trembling hands, their 4 eyes filled with gratitude. In orbit, the final Krex ship attempted to flee the system. It never got the chance. 4 Earth vessels converged on it, their weapons firing in perfect unison. The Krex ship shattered into countless pieces. All enemy ships destroyed or disabled, Admiral, reported Captain Green with quiet satisfaction. Cooper nodded. And the ground situation? Final facility secured, Martinez reported. All Krex forces either eliminated or captured. We've rescued all surviving Alarians. For the first time since the battle began, Cooper allowed herself to relax slightly. Send word to Earth. Tell them it's over. The Alarians are safe. The message raced across hyperspace toward Earth. Humanity had fought its first interstellar war and won decisively. The Krex had learned a painful lesson. Targeting the helpless was no longer a safe strategy. Not in a galaxy where Earth's ships flew. 3 days after the battle, the Alarian sky was clear again. Smoke no longer rose from damaged buildings. Earth medical teams worked around the clock to help the injured aliens. Engineering crews repaired power grids and communication systems. The planet was healing. Admiral Beth Cooper stood in the grand meeting hall of the Alarian capital city. The room had high ceilings with beautiful glass art that caught the light of the twin suns. Once a place of peaceful gatherings, it had been damaged during the Krex attack. Now it was partly repaired, good enough for this important meeting. Beside Cooper stood Commander Eric Walsh, Captain Olivia Martinez, and other key officers from the Earth Fleet. They faced the Alarian Council of Elders, the surviving leaders of the gentle alien species. The head of the council, Elder Cyril, stepped forward. His blue skin had regained some of its healthy color after days of treatment by Earth doctors. "Friends from Earth," Cyril began, his voice carrying through the hall. "There are no words in your language or ours that can fully express our gratitude. The Krex would have harvested our entire species if you had not come." Walsh nodded respectfully. "We could not stand by while friends suffered. Earth made a promise. When we first met your people 5 years ago, we keep our promises." Elder Cyril bowed slightly. "We have always valued peace above all else. Our choice not to develop weapons left us vulnerable. We did not understand that the galaxy holds predators, like the Krex." Cooper spoke next. "We recovered data from the Krex ships and facilities. They have attacked other peaceful species across this sector of the galaxy, always those who could not defend themselves." "What will happen to the captured Krex?" asked another elder. "They will face justice," Cooper answered firmly. "And we will use the information we've gathered to find and help other victims of their harvesting operations." The meeting continued as they discussed plans for the future. Earth would help the Alarians rebuild. More importantly, Earth would establish a defensive presence in the Alarian system, a small fleet and a space station to ensure no one threatened the planet again. After the meeting, Cooper walked with Walsh through the gardens outside the hall. Earth soldiers nodded respectfully as they passed. Many Alarians stopped to express their thanks. "The fleet is ready to return to Earth except for the ships that will remain here," Walsh said. "The valiant defender will lead the journey home. Tomorrow," Cooper nodded. "The United Earth government is already planning our next steps. The data we recovered shows at least 3 other species currently under threat from predators like the Krex. So this was just the beginning," Walsh said quietly. "Yes, Earth can no longer focus only on its own defense. Not now that we know what happens to peaceful species without protection." As they walked, Lieutenant Henry Taylor approached with a data tablet. "Admiral, we've finished analyzing the Krex communication logs. There's something you should see." Cooper took the tablet and studied the information. Her expression hardened. They've been sharing information with other predatory species, coordinating their attacks. "A network of hunters," Walsh said, reading over her shoulder. "Trading maps showing the locations of defenseless civilizations." Cooper handed the tablet. Back to Taylor. "Prepare this information for transmission to Earth immediately. The government needs to see this." Later that day, Commander Grace Kelly and Sergeant Kate Johnson supervised the loading of captured Krex technology onto Earth ships. The equipment would be studied carefully back home to better understand their enemies. "Do you think this is truly over?" Johnson asked as they watched the work progress. Kelly shook her head. "No, this was just our first battle in what might be a very long war. The Krex aren't the only threats out there. At least the Alarians are safe now." "Yes. And they won't be the last we protect." That evening, Admiral Cooper called a meeting of all Earthship captains. They gathered in a large room aboard the Valiant Defender. The mood was serious despite their victory. "I've received new orders from Earth," Cooper announced. "Based on the information we've gathered, the United Earth government has made an important decision." She activated a display showing a map of nearby star systems. Several were marked in red. "These are locations where peaceful species like the Alarians are currently under threat. Our orders are to respond to these situations after we return to Earth for resupply." Captain Samuel Green studied the map with concern. "There are many red marks, Admiral." "Yes, more than we expected. It seems the galaxy is not as peaceful as we hoped when we first reached the stars." Captain Diane Miller spoke up. "So what happens now?" Cooper's face was resolute. "Earth is establishing what they're calling the Terran Protective Alliance. Any peaceful species that wishes to join will receive our protection. We will expand our fleet, build more ships, train more soldiers." A defensive alliance, Walsh said, with approval. Yes. The strong have preyed on the weak for too long in this galaxy. Earth will change that. The next morning, Cooper stood on the command deck of the Valiant Defender. Through the viewport, she could see the beautiful blue-green world of the Ilarians. 5 Earth ships would remain in orbit as the planet's new guardians. The rest of the fleet was prepared to return home. Before they departed, Cooper had one final task. She opened a channel that would broadcast on all galactic frequencies. "This is Admiral Beth Cooper of the Earth Armada," she began. "To all spacefaring civilizations who can receive this message, what you are about to see is true and unaltered." The broadcast included footage from the battle, Earth ships destroying the Krex fleet, Marines freeing Ilarian captives, the Krex harvesting facilities being shut down. The Krex Dominion targeted a peaceful species for harvesting. They believed the Ilarians were defenseless because they had no weapons. They were wrong. The Ilarians had friends. They had Earth. Cooper paused to let her words have impact. From this day forward, know that Earth stands with the defenseless. We have established the Terran Protective Alliance. Any species that wishes peaceful relations will find in humanity a steadfast friend. Those who prey on the helpless will face the full might of Earth's military response. She looked directly into the camera. The strong must protect, not exploit. This is our creed. This broadcast has been translated into all known galactic languages so there can be no misunderstanding. Earth has taken its place among the stars not as a conqueror, but as a shield for those who cannot shield themselves. The broadcast ended. Cooper gave the order and the Earth fleet entered hyperspace, leaving the Ilarian system behind. They were heading home, but they would return to the stars soon with an even greater purpose. On countless worlds across the galaxy, the message was received. Peaceful species who lived in fear took hope from the knowledge that they were no longer alone. Predatory civilizations paused in their hunting, suddenly aware that their prey might have powerful friends. A new era had begun among the stars. The era when humanity showed the galaxy what it stood for and what it stood against.